Hello, hello, and welcome to the Mindset Bloomcast with Mallory. I am Mallory McGary, your host. I am the CEO and founder of beautifully-blooming.com. You can find me at beautifully-blooming.com, or you can always email me at mallory@beautifully-blooming.com. You are listening to the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, radio, TV, and podcasts, the #1 internet talk network. All right. I am here today. We are talking about, I feel like every topic I say this, but something that has been on my mind for the last little while, not since the last episode, but for quite a while, in helping me develop my program, where we're at right now, kind of where I'm at in life, finding joy in being mom, and finding that refinding who and rediscovering who I am as a person. So today we're talking about finding your identity, and identity comes in a lot of different forms. There's a lot of ways that it is for us to find. So in my research, as usual, I have done kind of a deep dive into finding your identity. And I have found 15 ways to find your true identity. This is to step into your authentic self and to really give yourself the extra boost of knowing that you're doing something that is really in alignment with the person that you are, wherever that is in life and parenting. There are times I find when I'm with my toddler that it seems that I'm saying things that I probably authentically would never say, that are, your parents coming out, that those experiences, and trying to keep in alignment with what is true to me, what feels authentic to me, not only as a mom, not only as a wife, but as a person in general, a human, and keeping me feeling like my cup is full. We've talked a lot about filling up your own cup in the past episodes, that how important it is to have something that is just yours, that is something that is for you, that will give you that boost that you need, that you can give more energy to the world, give more energy to your family, give more energy where it is needed, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. We all know that we hear that all the time. I've heard it since I was little, but it seems to be on a rampant method right now of saying, and verbiage saying right now, that you cannot pour from an empty cup. You have to fill it up somehow. And in all that we've talked about over the last episodes as well, you have different things that fill up your cup. My kids fill up my cup. My husband fills up my cup. My family fills up my cup. But they're not everything. There are things that they all don't enjoy. That is something that I specifically enjoy. And so when I do those things, or I find that hobby or something that it fills up my cup, maybe some days it's getting to sit down and read a book, versus audible, but sitting down and reading a book and kind of getting absorbed in that for maybe 10 minutes, that fills up my cup. Maybe for you, it's getting in the bubble bath and not having to think about your to-do list and those things that are constantly going through a mom brain, at least, of having everything always going, just being able to shut that off for a minute and just being with you. And part of identity is being okay in your own skin. That's also been something we've touched on in the last little couple of episodes. I feel like that it's been a constant theme, not intentionally, but a theme that is resonating with probably where I'm at in life as well, of feeling comfortable in my own skin, feeling comfortable enough to speak my truth, speak who I am, and to kind of quit playing, maybe not quit playing, but for lack of better terminology, quit playing the games that society's having you play, right? It always feels like you're ping-ponging one side or the other. you need to wear these type of clothes. No, you should wear these type of clothes. You need to listen to this type of music. You should have this type of music. You need these certain headphones. You need those certain headphones. Just always back and forth. And when you do one thing on one hand, then by the next, 10 minutes, it feels like you get the one thing. And then as soon as you get it, you've shifted onto something new, and you're either always behind or you just have to find a way to keep up. And that I'm not that person. Authentically, to me, it is really hard for me to feel like I have to keep up. I'm comfortable in where I'm at. I'm always changing and ever growing, but certain things that I look at, I kind of compare apples to oranges a little bit and think, what's more important out of this? I don't chase a whole lot of trends. I have my own style. It's taken me a while to get into it. And we're going to touch on that in a minute, but to go along with this, but that's kind of identity feels like it's always having to be changing, and you always are trying to keep up or catch up with someone, and who that someone is, don't know who started it, don't know why we're keeping up, right? It's just been something that's been kind of a learned behavior over time. So as we jump into these 15 things about how to finding your true identity, I want to I'll touch on some stories as I always do, but as I go through the list, kind of reflect and think of where you're at on these spaces. What journey do you want to be on? Is this something that really resonates with you? Is it something that you're kind of like, I've got a pretty good handle on it, so like I don't need this, or I'm dying on the vine over here. I just feel like I've given so much and I don't know the person that I am anymore. So kind of think about that as we go through some of these. And the first one is, well, before I jump into that, sorry, I'm going to back into that a little bit. So I talked about fashion for a minute prior, and that I am not a fashion forward person or chasing a trend. In fact, in high school, I was not the trendiest person, I'll be honest. I think my junior year and part of my senior year, I was the girl that wore pantsuits to school, slacks, a nice shirt. I never really got into the blazer look until more recently, but I always had on like slacks, a good pair of chunky heeled shoes, and like a nice blouse. It feels like I rarely wore like jeans. I know I wore jeans and I know I wore corduroys a lot, but that like I was mostly caught in, I didn't wear skirts a whole lot or like dresses, but I was mostly wore like kind of like business suits. And that's circa 2003 to circa 2005. And then, but now if you look at me, I'm kind of all about a good statement shirt, jeans that most likely have a rolled up cuff at the bottom. And I rarely wear shoes. So finding, you'll find me in Converse if I am in shoes. Very rarely will you find me in high heels or things like that. I'm mostly in jeans and a good statement t-shirt. That's kind of my jam. That's where I feel comfortable. And jeans really never go out of style. So we're gonna say that. But to go along with, to tie that into identity is, I was trying to identify myself as, I'm not entirely sure, maybe a trendsetter that never caught on. Not very many high school kids are going to wear business suits to school, but wanted to be maybe a little bit standoutish, something that wasn't seen a whole lot around. Very much an individualistic type of person, and I didn't want to be duplicable. I didn't want to be someone that I wanted to be harder to duplicate. I didn't want to fall into the same patterns and trends, I guess, that were happening. So I kind of went the reverse and went in a different direction. So that's kind of how I partly identified who I was, is by making this standout declaration's probably not right, but like this standout type of personality that is there. And so from 2005 to now, fast forward, I've done a lot of mindset work. I've gone through a lot of shifts in life experiences, things that have taught me and have helped me grow. Some of those things are still part of my identity, but some of them I've let go because they're not authentic to who I am. So jumping into our list here, the number one way to find your true self is to find your purpose in life. Do you know what it is? Do you know how to find that purpose, right? Most business owners, me included, at different points will tell you that we have been, especially entrepreneurs, that we have been called to a certain type of business that we run. I have been more called to serve in the mom space and the mindset space, because that is something that I fully believe needs to be touched on. It's something that I've been through. It's something I understand, and it's something that I'm the expert on in this field of trying to start a business, be an employee, have tiny humans, to be a wife, and to kind of be in all of these roles, and to then shift that and say it's okay to be me, myself, while still being all of these other roles. And it's something that I can share with the world. And I feel like that's something that was calling me in my heart, in my soul, that I needed to share. And so that is something that is my purpose, is part of my anchor. It's part of my identity, and my authenticity is where I thrive. And so really the purpose of your one true purpose in life is that it's the most important thing. It's what is most important to you in life. It could be whatever motivates you to get out of bed in the morning. It could be whatever motivates you to complete your goals, to even it's something that gives you that strong sense of purpose and that meaning and direction that you are ready to say, like, let's do it. I'm ready for it. So maybe you found it. Maybe you have kind of an inkling in the back of your mind of what that is, or you're kind of like, I don't even know where to start. So where you're going to start to discover that is really sitting and reflecting with yourself. You're going to want to reflect on your values, the things that you desire, the things that you're passionate about. Maybe what do you want out of life? What do you want to see yourself achieve, or what do you want to get out of this life? What really sends you to the moon in happiness? What brings you so much joy? What is something that you cannot stop talking about? There are 3 things in my life that I know that I can never stop talking about. It is empowering other women to live their business and to do whatever it is that they want to do in their life, and to find those dreams and be who they are, because the world needs all women to show up exactly how they are. That's how we all function and bloom and grow. I cannot stop talking about my family. I love my little family. I have an amazing story with my kids, of them being both IVF kids. That's a topic for another day, but the IVF process itself and the things that all of that has gone through, I love sharing about them and our journey and our story, and my husband and I's love story as well. And I really love to talk about just the things that light me up. It doesn't matter what it's the thing of the moment. Maybe it's a book in the moment that's like really bringing me joy, or maybe it's being outside in the sun and working in my yard that I just can't stop talking about. It kind of depends on the season and what's happening, but whatever is lighting me up at that moment, I cannot stop talking about it. So sit down, reflect on, if you do know your purpose, reflect on it. Are you living that purpose? Are you not living that purpose? If you're not, how are you going to get there? What's going to push you to get to that point? And then write down the things that your purpose isn't, right? My purpose, I know for me, is to not be just kind of more in the quiet background of life. That's not my purpose. My purpose is to not just kind of go by the wayside and be an ebb and flow, go fluidly with what life is. I am a fluid person, but fluidity is saying to me that I've got to speak up when it's time, and the things that matter to me, I'm going to make sure that people know where I stand, and other things I can kind of let slide and go with, just to be a good and functioning human in the world, just to give a little bit of wiggle room there. So once you find that purpose, what it is and what it is not, start living it, start making those steps to live that purpose, and you'll start to get in touch with who you really are as a person. And it's kind of the gateway to finding your true identity. The second way to find your true identity is to get in touch with your values. So values are the beliefs that govern our everyday life and how you live your life. That they're the things that kind of I call as your moral compass, or your own compass. It's those values that will guide you to to help make your choices and your decisions. They're the things that like anchor us into who we are. So when you're in touch with your values, you're anchored into that authentic self. You're anchored into those things that are building you up, that kind of propel you forward. You're in alignment with the choices that you make because you're anchored in those values. Sometimes you don't even realize that we have them, or if they even exist in our lives. And we will base our value on what others value and about us, and not what we value ourselves. So it'd be like we are basing our values on what your parents believe, or maybe your neighbor, or maybe it's your significant other. Maybe it's a really good friend that, oh, they believe this, so I'll hold on to that. But it's kind of you're grasping at straws type of feeling. It's flimsy, it's not really there. But you hold on to it for some reason. And so getting in touch with your own values and the things that is that compass that guides you personally is what's going to help keep you anchored into your authenticity. So start by answering questions of, what do you find important in life? What really matters to you? What things could make your life better? And what would make the world a better place? Start by answering those things. And then once you start answering these questions, you're going to start stepping into those values, and you're anchoring yourself in these. We may not have a conscious value system in our mind all the time, but you do have them. And they hold a lot of power over what kind of person you are, and then what makes you happy, though. But it's hard at times with values, especially, to be anchored into the things that are true to you, because you're surrounded by the outside noise, what I call the outside noise of social norms and pressures, things that other people value, that they think is important, that we forget that we don't necessarily value that's something that's not going to anchor us into that space. So we want to hold on to that. Those, we want to go through and dig into what those things are that really are guiding our life. Because once you do that, you're not only anchoring, but you're stepping into the power and the potential within yourself, because now you're living true to yourself. You don't become bogged down by the continuous information and that is coming from the outside world. You're not falling necessarily to the pressures of social norms and your neighbors and other people's values, but it's coming from within your own self. So you're going to stay more authentically true to who you are. Number 3, identifying your strengths and weaknesses. Sometimes this is the best and worst activity. I feel like it's kind of a job interview for yourself at times when you get asked what's your greatest strength and what's your greatest weakness. Finding the strength is hard because that's not what we're taught to focus on, right? We're not taught to focus on the things that we do really well and the things that we're excellent at, or the things that are what you would deem a strength. And even if they are a strength as a characteristic, you're not looking at them saying that they are a strength, because it's not what I call like a showy strength of maybe being able to like play the piano, where you can see that and you're like, they're a good piano player, they've got it down. Whereas opposed to creating great relationships and helping people, making people feel important is more of a characteristic. You wouldn't look at that as a strength necessarily in your mind. But on the flip side of that, coming up with the weaknesses is super easy. I'm sure within a minute time frame, you can give double the amount of the list of what your greatest weaknesses are, because that's kind of where our society is focused a little bit, in saying, oh, you're not good at this, or kind of the tear down mentality a little bit of you're not good at this, or you're never going to be good at this, or you failed one time, so you should never try again because you already failed it. And we focus on those. We kind of tend to nitpick at those things instead of allowing those weaknesses as building blocks to work on and lead to a better strength. We just kind of let them all fall by the wayside and just keep telling ourselves that we're not doing a good job because I failed at it once, so I'm never gonna be good at it. So now it's a weakness type of thing, which is so heartbreaking in the long run. As I've gone through my mindset work, I've learned to look at them and not as weaknesses, but as opportunities, that they are things that will go through. They're the opportunities that I can work on and grow, which in some places that can seem the opposite. Most people will focus on their strengths to show that out to the world. And the things that we're good at, because we don't want people to know that we're not good at something. So we forget that, oh, we should probably improve on these things because we need to be strong in what we're showing to people, and we need to keep cultivating that and getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Whereas when we're doing that, we're not improving on those opportunities or weaknesses that we have. And so we want to have the ability to continue to grow as people. That's why we're here on this planet. We're all growing, we're all learning. And as that comes to fruition a little bit, you can't keep growing if you're only stuck in the same spot. You can't go anywhere if you're stuck on that proverbial hamster wheel. You're just going to continue going in that same circle. You're not getting any farther ahead. You're just running in the same circle. So it's time now to find out what makes you you in that. Identify what your greatest strengths are. Identify what your greatest weaknesses are. Ask yourself, what do you constantly struggle with? What is something you avoid? Is there a specific area, not only a specific area in your life that you are avoiding? Maybe you procrastinate something. What things really make you feel uncomfortable or bring up a lot of fear for you? Those are some things to help bring up your weaknesses. But in the same breath, some questions to ask about your strengths, if you're trying to stay on the same path, is like, what are you really proficient at? What will you always jump on and say, I will tackle that task? Where is something or an area of your life that you always show up in? Maybe that's, you are really a career-driven person. Maybe it's show up always as a parent. Maybe you show up always as a wife, or a significant other. That's where you thrive. Ask yourself, where do you thrive? Where are you like the most comfortable? Where do you want to be in finding those strengths? So you'll find out that balance, and finding that balance is going to also help help add to that purpose, to making that real difference, not only in your life, but in the world, because you are sticking to that authenticity. You're anchoring yourself in all of that. You've got the things you're working on to find. You've got your purpose. Now you're driven in a place to find what that is. So number 4 is getting rid of false beliefs and negative thought patterns. This is something that is, I feel like, a constant, that once you have an experience in the past that is not a great experience, that we hold on to it, and it becomes what we believe, either about ourselves, about a situation. It's usually something from a rejection, a failure, a trauma, something of that sort, that lead to us having self-limiting beliefs. Maybe you have found that your significant other was the kind of person that you've always wanted to go for, but found, like, to get to date them or something like that, you look at them and think, oh, there's no way. I've been down this path before, and I don't want to try and date them because they're just going to not like me. They're not going to like the person that I am. Even finding friends. I will say, as myself, finding friends has kind of been like, oh, I like these type of people, and these type of people are the kind of people I vibe with really well, but I'm going to jump in this group and they're not going to like me, because I've had that happen to me in the past. That's myself, that I block myself in holding that back. And they just end up holding me back from being more authentic in my identity and finding what my identity is, because I'm not really giving that a second chance. And our false beliefs are the limiting beliefs that are not true. So they're led from experiences that made you believe you couldn't do certain things. So things of like, I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve to be happy. Nobody cares about me. No one cares if I'm here or around. People would be happier if I wasn't here, type of thing. Those things are false beliefs, because somewhere, somehow in the back of our mind, we've got, in our subconscious, we've gotten these things that have created these false beliefs. Maybe they're completely um something that just is triggered, or you've made up a situation in your mind. I can say that I'm guilty of this, that it just has perpetuated into this false belief. So carrying any of those around, they will hold you back, because now it's the lens that you're seeing the world through. You're seeing your life through a lens that's distorted and scratched in a different color, and it's dirty and gross, that if it was cleaned off, you would see your potential. But because now you have all of these different things blocking this lens, you're going to look at it a little bit jaded, life a little bit jaded. So finding our get the false beliefs and negative thought patterns, find out what they are, and try and stop them. Find the way that trigger that says, oh, if this happens, then if somebody says blah, I'm going to go down this spiral of a negative thought pattern, or all of a sudden it's going to be this path of this false belief. Break that habit. Start breaking those habits now. Yes, it will take practice, but it is going to be something that will help you not only thrive in being authentic to who you are, but thrive just in the world in general, because you're now seeing yourself, not only the world in a different light, but yourself in a different light. Number 5 is being your authentic self around others. So an important question is, have you ever wondered what it's like to be just you? Yes, no. Maybe you have, and that's awesome. You're taking those steps toward finding your true self. And if you haven't, it's time that you did. And I'm gonna give a little anecdote here of me being my authentic self around others. I know I've talked in past episodes that growing up, I kind of was like a little chameleon. I just wanted to fit in a bunch of different places. I wanted everybody to like me. I didn't want to have, I wanted a large group of friends. I didn't want to be seen as kind of the wallflower person. So um, I would kind of morph my personality a little bit into all the different groups that I was around. And um, I want to say it was probably as I started this journey of being able to start, as I'm shedding all of these limiting beliefs and these false beliefs, of being able to start to pipe up in my authenticity. And part of my personality and part of me being authentic is I'm a very curious person. Um, if any of you know about the Enneagram, I'm an Enneagram 8, which means I am the challenger. My favorite question is why? And sometimes I can be like a little kid and ask why over and over again. And other times I kind of could come across as a police interrogator, because I just keep asking question after question. And it's to be that way and to feel full in the person that I am, and accepting of that personality trait of mine. It is my anchor. It is what being curious about the world is what makes me happy, and it's what makes me authentic. And um I love to have that part of me. And it when I wondered what it would really be like to be me, I didn't realize how freeing it actually felt to be just me, and to be the curious person that I am, and kind of that challenger. I have noticed that I love a good debate every once in a while. Um, Nothing that is a serious topic, because that is just too much energy that sometimes I don't want to give, but a good debate about which way the toilet paper roll needs to go. Does toilet paper come over the top, or does the toilet paper come under the bottom? I don't necessarily care. I'll be honest. My transparency, here it is. I put the roll on, and however it goes, however it is. I don't have a preference. But I also don't take the time to think about it as I put the roll on anyway. But some people do, they have a preference, and whatever side you're on, I like to play devil's advocate a little bit sometimes and just kind of get that. It's good for my creative juices, it's good for my personality, and that's me being authentic to myself and being around others. It's easier for me to explain myself and to express myself around others because I know who I am. I know what makes me tick. I know that that's something that is part of my personality. So I do make that a point, to being your authentic self. So what does it take to find your authentic self? All you have to do is just be yourself. Just open up, let others see you, see who you are. You're an amazing human, and we need everybody to show up as they are. But what will happen is you will find that being yourself and letting people in will break down some of their barriers, but also shed the many masks and facades that we as a humankind wear. Once they do see who you are, they can connect with you. They connect with the real you, and they connect with that real person. They're not connecting with a layer of yourself. They're connecting with your truest self. And so you're going to then be able to express yourself in ways that you haven't before. Number 6 is just being true to yourself. Once you discover your authentic self, just be true to it. Know what makes you unique and special. Learn how to use those qualities to your advantage. Make sure that you know what makes you different from everyone else. That is how we all are all of our differences allow us to connect together, because your difference could be a strength, something that is a weak thing of mine. So I need that strength of yours to build onto and help me grow in my weaknesses. And so your unique qualities and the things that make you special are not negative things. They are positive things. Use those as your strengths. And that's what will help people see the real you, by being true to yourself. Number 7 is setting your goals that reflect your values and passions. So you're going to start setting these goals that are in alignment with those anchors that we talked about, that your value system, they're going to follow the things that will push you and propel you forward. They're not going to reflect what you're they're not going to be goals that are just kind of out here. They're going to be goals that reflect your values, your passions, the things that excite you, the things that give you motivation to achieve them. That some of those goals are not that are set out here, that are just somewhat feel good goals, that you're not going to have the motivation to do those. You need motivation to sustain you through achieving those goals, because most goals are not overnight goals. So you're going to need that motivation that will sustain you. And if it's aligned with your authentic self, your core values, then you're going to be able to reach those goals. You're going to be more committed to reaching those goals. Number 8 is getting rid of toxic people from your life. Who are those people? Identify who they are. There are people that you can probably cut from your life that are toxic, that are not good for you. There are probably people that are in your life that are more part of your inner circle, and it's going to be hard for you to cut them from your life, but maybe give them a hard boundary. My suggestion is to give a hard boundary and say, this is where we can meet, and that's about it. You want to keep people around you that are going to keep you motivated, fired up, inspired, filling your creative juices, whatever that looks like, that sit in your same value system, that you're going to be more successful that way. There is, I can't remember who said it off the top of my head right now, but you want to surround yourself with the five people in your circle that are on the same path or have the same mindset as you and where you're wanting to go, because you're going to be pulling from each other. So that's what's going to be propelling you forward. And having somebody that is toxic in your life can hold you back a little bit. So either set a hard boundary or get rid of them altogether. Number 9, living in the moment. Seems impossible at this time to try and live in the moment. That being present is really hard when I'm guilty of this, that you're watching a TV show and you're working on a laptop, or maybe you're at your computer and then you're also on your phone. At the same time, you have 3 different things happening and you're focused on not any of them at the same time. So something that is being present, living for the moment. But why is that important to discover your identity? It's important because when you're in the moment and being present and living in that moment, then you're going to be able to make better decisions. You're going to have stronger success. You're going to more or less acknowledge really who you really are, because you are living in that moment of making those decisions. You're discovering more about your identity. You're discovering the things that will help you propel forward, and you're willing to take the more effective actions to do that. But a warning and a caveat to that is, be aware how the past has affected your present. And it will step in at different moments when you're trying to make these decisions and be like, whoa, it'll be those limiting beliefs and those false and those negative patterns that will step into and say, I can't do that, or whatever. We need to, once you shed that, then you're going to have the better chance of finding your real identity, because you are living in that moment. You can identify that this negative thought pattern, or this false belief, or this event that did not work well or did work well. Also, we have the flip side of that too, that will help you succeed in making those decisions, those better decisions, because we're living in the moment and conscious of those things creeping in, that we can identify them and push them away, or allow them in, whatever is going to benefit us at the moment. Number 10, unlocking your hidden potential. Do you know what your potential is? Do you even know that you have any? I'm sure you know that you have some, but do you know how to access it, to tap into it? If you don't know, go through kind of the steps before this step of letting go of the toxic people, letting go of our limiting beliefs and our false negative patterns. We're going to find your purpose. We're going to live in the moment. You're going to find that core value system that once you have that, it unlocks doorways every time you do that, and you're able to step into more of your potential as you're making those decisions, and you're discovering more about yourself. The decisions that you make with all of that foundation built is going to give you greater success but it will give you more passion-filled adventures and more exciting opportunities. What would your life look like if you had all of those, rather than feeling like you were stuck or unable to reach your goals? That you're not really in control of your life. You are focused on the what's happening this minute, that the outer reaches seem so impossible, and even you don't know who you are internally. You don't know what that value system is, that you're holding on to other people's values, so you feel really chaotic inside. So thinking of that will help you unlock that hidden potential, but also start a whole new first day of a whole new life, because you're stepping into that. Finding your passion, find it. Find what your passion is. Find what really drives you and motivates you in life, and then do it. When you do that, you're discovering your real identity, and stepping forward into that, you're discovering that your succession in life is there because you're doing something that you love and that is fueling you enough to move forward. And you're in a life that's solid, that is happy, that has a path, that has a direction, that is moving forward, that you're not having feeling like you're confused, stuck, unsatisfied. Find your passion. Go find what makes you happy. Number 12, we're getting to the end of our list here, and they're kind of the ones that are what I think are sometimes the hardest ones, especially mindset wise, that you're going to focus on those a little bit more outside, because it's kind of what has fueled you for a while. It's kind of where we've been taught internally that we need to please the people around us, and that takes away from who we are. That's part of the limiting beliefs where they can come in, is an action happens that allows you to not feel this way, feel that you are worthy of anything else going forward. It started a pattern. So number 12, stop worrying about what other people think about you. Now, this is something that has taken me a long time to learn, and sometimes it's still a work in progress. I'm not perfect, but I have spent countless amount of hours wondering if my outfits were on point, what people thought about what I was posting on Instagram, what people were going to say about me, what people said about me behind my back. That I spent so much time trying to appeal to others that I started probably to lose myself a little bit more in that process, because I was trying to appeal to so many people. But once I just discovered who I was and my identity, that I stopped caring about what other people thought about me. That really my slogan in life is I'm worried about what other people are thinking about me, while they're worrying about what other people are thinking about them. So they're not thinking about me at all. They're in the same boat. We're not all thinking about each other. We're all worrying about what other people are thinking about us individually, that we're not taking the time to think about what we think about other people. But not having that voice in the back of my head that's like, oh, you can't do this, or you shouldn't do that, or so-and-so is going to say something, or anything like that. It just got really overwhelming, and I was trying to appeal to way too many people. I felt like I was being spread really thin. So when I discovered my authentic self and what my core value system is, and what drives me and what motivates me and what I'm passionate about, those things, that I just didn't care what they thought about me anymore, because they will love me for who I really am. So there's that. Number 13, don't listen to your inner critic. The harshest critic is yourself. That's, I know I can say that in full transparency. I am like every other woman I think on the planet that's gets up in the morning and can look at themselves and really nitpick about things. My fingernails are not manicured. I'm still losing baby weight, that I don't look like so and so, and I'm not this, that the inner voice in my brain keeps saying, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough. Your own inner critic is kind of tearing you down a little bit, and controls who you are and the decisions that you make. So not having to worry about what other people care about you as well, when you shed your inner critic as well, it doesn't allow it to have control. Then, because you know who you really are, then you stop listening to your inner critic, because it's it's the voice that keeps you confused and unsure, and on that in those false and limiting beliefs, it keeps you in that space. So when you know who you really are, you don't listen to that anymore, because you're living authentically to you, and it doesn't control your life because you're not unsure and you're no longer confused. Number 14, stop comparing yourself to others. Think about when the last time was you compared yourself to somebody. Probably 10 minutes ago, maybe 5 minutes ago, maybe right now you were doing it. But comparison, we all know, is the thief of joy. It also wastes a lot of time, because we don't know what somebody's outside picture is. We only know the outside. We don't know what's going on inside, whether that's in a house. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't know what's going on behind the closed doors of someone's mind. That we're trying to live up to standards that people may or may not have set for us. That it's just creates a chaotic path, and what they're doing could be right for them, but completely opposite of right for you. But it looks like maybe they're moving ahead and you feel stagnant because you may not be able to buy a new car and they just bought a new car, whatever that comparison theory is. Nobody knows. One of my own personal mantras that I say is, the grass is the same color of brown on both sides of the fence. It just depends on how you look at it and where you're standing. If you're standing on one side of the fence and the sun is shining, you can catch the right side of the glimpses of green. May not know that the grass is dying. And then when you get closer to it, you realize, oh, it's the same color of dying as my grass was. And now I've just traded one problem for another. So the grass is not always greener. We know that, but it's the same color brown. It's my theory. Take it for a grain of salt, but comparing yourself to others is comparing one's problems to another. And would you trade those problems for somebody else's? You may not know what they are. And so comparison is just saying, oh, well, they look like they're having the perfect life, but really they could be in a lot of turmoil. And would you want to trade what you have for that? That's kind of my theory on comparing yourself to others. I could continue down that path for a long time, but we're all running short on time. So I want to hit number 15. And our last one is one of the ones, the buoy at the very end, that's going to bring it all back and tie it all together, is seek meaning in relationships. We all enjoy interacting with other people. It helps fuel our fire. It fuels our passion. It fills our cups. It just gives new perspective on life, which is a great thing, right? We like to have different opinions and different ways to view something. gives you more information. We're growing, we're learning all together. That when you're in your true self and you want to find that authentic self, you want to interact with those people. Like I said, those 5 people in that same mindset who help you find that meaning in your life, or fuel that meaning in your life. If you know what it is, fuel that passion, fuel that purpose. You want to find those that are going to be the support system, that will be there through the thick and thin, not just there through the mediocre moments, but through the hard times. That'll be there for the highest of highs, the lowest of lows. Creating those relationships and creating that meaning will help you stay in your authentic self, because the people that you've created that meaning with will want to be with you and enjoy you in your realist and rawest form, that you won't have to put on any facade anymore, that they accept you and love you for in that form, the rawest and realist form. So assess your current relationships where they are at. So ask yourself, how much do I enjoy the relationships I have with these people? Maybe it's time to let some people go. Not necessarily that they're toxic people, but they're not helping you get to where you want to be. And how much do they help me find my meaning in life? Are they helping you stay within your core values in that anchor system? Or when you're with them, do you feel like you're compromising somewhere and it kind of feels meh? When it comes down to it, ultimately, and finding your true identity and finding the person that you are, 1, you have to do self-discovery. 2, you've got to get rid of the negative cloud that I feel like surrounds each and every person. And it's a different negativity cloud for everybody, of their past experiences, kind of that baggage that you drag around, those limiting beliefs, those negative thought patterns, those things that tear you down, the toxic people. And 3, creating that group of people that is only going to propel you forward. They're your support system. They're the people that you can be exactly who you are, and you don't have to worry about it. You can stop worrying about what everyone else is saying and just do you, stepping into your potential, unlocking that extra kind of leveling up, I guess, unlocking that next level to step into. You're finding all of these things that will help you stay true to yourself in a world that wants you to be true to yourself. And that's kind of the slogan that's going out and around, is be you. But in my mind, it feels like it comes with a lot of be you buts. And it's not allowing you to live in your full authenticity. So my challenge to you today is to find your purpose and to find your core values. Align yourself with those 2 things, anchor your life into those 2 specific things, and you're on the path and the journey to 100% success in finding not only success in life, but real and true happiness, real and true joy, real and true love, and stepping into some amazing power that you didn't even know you had, because you're shedding a lot of things that are more pressured to feel, more pressured to think. But aligning yourself and staying anchored in those is what's going to help propel you forward. Thank you so much for being here today. Felt like that episode went really fast. If you have questions, please let me know. You can find me at beautifullyblooming.com, or you can email me at mallory@beautifullyblooming.com. I am Mallory McGary. You are listening to the Mindset Bloomcast with Mallory. I am the founder and CEO of beautifullyblooming.com. You are listening to the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, radio, TV, and podcasts, the #1 internet talk network. Thank you so much for being here, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode.